to the Pizzatola Center here on the campus of Brown University, home of the Brown University Bears, as they get set to take on the Columbia Lions in Ivy League women's basketball action. An important game as both teams have now hit about the midway point in the Ivy schedule. We'll take a look at how the standings are shaping up so far. Columbia in sole possession of first place, but only that one game ahead of Princeton. The Bears still holding firm to that fourth spot, as they would love a spot in Ivy Madness, which will be here in Providence. I'm Mike Mancuso, joined today by Colleen Kelly. And Colleen, we've kind of laid out some of the importance of this game in terms of the standings. A big chance for the Bears to have a statement win today.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. You could see the Bears are clearly in fourth place. And as we inch closer and closer to Ivy Madness, it's going to be important for the Bears to stay in fourth place, while Columbia is looking to win their 10th in a row here and stay on top of the Ivy League standings.
Yeah, looking to stay perfect in league play as well. Now, unfortunately, look at this Columbia team, so many weapons at their disposal, but look no further than their sharpshooter in Riley Weiss.
Yeah, Riley Rice is one of those players that Brown needs to know where she is on the court at all times. She is averaging 18 points per game, 39% from the three-point line, third in the NCAA. In addition to that, she can drive, she can score, that her teammates really do a great job looking for her. She is one of those players that can catch and shoot and is a true difference maker for Columbia.
Of course, on the other side for the Brown University Bears, Grace Arnerly coming off some terrific performances against Penn and Princeton last weekend.
Grace is a staple in the Brown lineup, and she has been for the last 2.5 years, and Brown's going to really look to her to have a big game in scoring. As we've talked about previously, the Brown Bears go as Grace Arnerly goes. She's averaging just shy of 16 points per game, scored her 1,000th point against Princeton last weekend, and is really looking to tally some more points this afternoon.
Well, we know those two will be impact players here this afternoon. It's time to roll through the starting lineups for both teams. We'll start with the host Bears this afternoon, and Coach LeBlanc going with a couple of changes in the starting five. Looks like she's going to add a little bit more size out there. She's going to go with Gia Powell, Alyssa Moreland, Beth Nelson, Grace Arnerly, and Gianna Aiello to combat these Columbia Lions that are the best rebounding team in the entire Ivy League. Speaking of the Lions, take a look at it right there. Susie Raffu, she is in the starting lineup along with Cece Collins, Kitty Henderson, Maria Avliash, and Riley Weiss rounding out the starting five for head coach Megan Griffith, now in her 9th season in charge of the Lions. She's the 2-time reigning Ivy Coach of the Year. Opening tip goes to the Lions in their powder blue uniforms with the dark blue numerals on their box. The attacking basket to the left on your screen here as they get it down to Collins down low. In a little bit of trouble finds Henderson, who does a little of everything for this Columbia team. And an early turnover is Alyssa Moreland, able to jump the gap there and pick them off. Now Bears with their opening possession of the game, and Arnerly took her eye off the ball for a moment, and picking her pocket was Avliash. Avliash, a rare transfer in the Ivy League, started her career at Ole Miss, making her 11th start of the season today. Moreland taking it to the rim, blocked on the inside, as it looked like a couple of players converged, including Collins and Riley Weiss. Speaking of Collins, flings it up, won't go, and Aiello got her hands on it, but couldn't control the loose ball, flung back out. Weiss pulls up and hits.
And Mike, we're already starting to see Columbia's pressure really affect the Bears in their press and their half-court defense.
Yeah, they are a very aggressive team. Coach LeBlanc talking about that this week. He said offensively they have to play with pace but not out of control, and there's another turnover for the Bears.
And that's what an active defense does. It makes you make quicker decisions, rush a little bit, and Brown's going to have to pay attention to that to take care of the ball.
Yeah, she said she would know a lot about how this game might go with the opening minutes of this one, knowing how aggressive Columbia is. Said they have to exceed the Lions' aggressiveness on the floor and keep that tenacity up. Outside shot from Avliash too long, and oh boy, Henderson going right over Arnerly, who then gets picked by Raffu. Collins, that one rim out. Nobody there to rebound for the Bears. And an offensive board and finish for Cece Collins. 6-0 start here for the Lions.
And that's signature Lion basketball where they just crash the boards. They're going hard after it. They send all 5 crashing, and that was a point of emphasis for Brown, is to only give Columbia one shot.
Quick hands turn the Bears over again. as the Bears looking maybe a little bit timid right now, and Columbia taking advantage. Rice to the rack, and Coach LeBlanc's going to have to call a timeout. You can feel that timeout coming. And with 7:48, we'll take one too. Columbia 8, Brown nothing. This is the Ivy League on ESPN.
Browns Women's Basketball wants to thank you all for joining us today on Black History Month Awareness and Alumni Weekend.
Hall of Fame. She totaled 5 individual heptagonal championships and went on to earn a law degree from Georgetown and a doctoral degree from NYU. And is now the Associate Professor of Law at Fordham, specializing in areas of law and biomedical ethics, anti-discrimination law, race, and the law and health law. One of the finest ever to perform here at Brown, has gone on to do such amazing things. That was Kimani Paul Emile. The Bears trying to do some amazing things now to get back in this one. Grace Arnoley forces it up, won't go. Kitty Henderson able to get to the loose ball. And we were talking off air during that break just how much Columbia is flying around out there. And the Bears, though, able to turn them over. We'll see if they can convert on the other end. Gia Powell from the outside, a little strong. Beth Nelson got the rebound, a key offensive board there, and then was able to draw a little bit of contact as she got hit by Susie Raffu.
And that's a really great 30-second span for the Bears coming out of the timeout. Coach LeBlanc settled them down, says, we can handle their pressure. Let's have a good outcome here.
It looks like she's trusting these 5, right? Sometimes you see a coach mix it up, start pulling kids out right away, and sticking with the starting 5, just giving them another reminder of what the game plan is and how they're going to have to ratchet up that intensity. Speaking of the intensity, Columbia really giving it to the Bears here on the defensive end. They get it to Aiello, working into Moreland. Moreland against Raffu, and she did shuffle the feet there as Raffu just got herself in a great spot underneath the hoop.
Yeah, she really read that help side defense and dropped down just in time. Brown maybe a tick late on the pass. Moreland was open, but regardless, Columbia does a really great job rotating on their defense.
Again, the Bears, limited its injuries and things this year, and kind of reduced the overall rotation of players. But this is one of the bigger lineups they could throw out there against the Lions, trying to win back the rebounding end as Cece Collins hits from the outside and makes it an 11-0 run to start the game. Aiello turns it over as Riley Weiss with the steal and the finish. And right now, Columbia could do no wrong.
They're playing a really clean game right now, Mike.
And another pick from behind. Arnoley robbed by Henderson. Avlihash to the rack. 4 minutes in, and Columbia all over the Bears here on the road. Now, we mentioned they're at the midway point of the Ivy League schedule, but strangely enough, the Bears have not played Columbia yet until today. They've played Dartmouth twice already, and this will be the last team that they have to face for the first time this season.
And Columbia's playing like a team right now that's the underdog. The amount of energy they have, the amount of intensity they have, you wouldn't think that they're on a 9-game win streak.
Yeah, I think they really take on the personality of their coach, Meg Griffith. Obviously, you're quite familiar with her. She's Columbia class of 07 and was a very intense, impressive guard in her playing days, and has taken that intensity into her coaching style as well, and really has these players buying in, and has really built up the culture at Columbia. Something that she says she could see how the Bears are doing that with Coach Monique LeBlanc as well. And she recognizes they're still, in the earlier stages of that changing of culture and building things up again. And was not taking this game lightly at all. And I think she did a good job of having her players prepared and ready to go from the opening tip. As it looks like they're going to get another foul on the Lions here. A little bit of a push in the back that time. Perry Page, one of their captains.
18 seconds.
Well, that'll be the first on Page today. And Page, good to see her back and fully fit. An ACL injury back in February of 2023. So nearly 2 years to the date from that injury. As another steal for the Lions. Henderson going right to the rim again. This time Beth Nelson's going to get called for the foul. A player like Kitty Henderson, maybe playing in the shadow of an Abby Shue the last couple of years, but boy, this year having quite the season, leading the team in rebounds, assists, steals, and up there in points as well. Really does a little of everything for this Columbia team.
Yeah, Columbia hasn't taken a step back at all with graduating one of their best players in program history, and that's attributed a lot to how Coach Griffin coaches her team. Like you said, she was an intense player. I remember many games playing against her. She's not the person you ever wanted to go against as a ball handler. She had that defensive energy, and you could tell her team just emulates that too.
Now, she is feeling a little bit under the weather. That's why she got the mask on today, trying to keep from spreading some of those germs, and is really having to gut this one out herself, and never easy when you're not feeling well. But I think the way her team is performing right now is going to make her feel just a little bit better. They're still looking for their first points of the game, a little bit too aggressive. Riley Weiss picks up her first personal of the day. And Weiss just continuing to pick up all the accolades as of late. She's already a two-time Ivy League Player of the Week. And after her performances last week in the 26-point career-high performance against Harvard and then another 25 against Dartmouth, was named one of 5 USBWA National Players of the Week and Associated Press Honorable Mention Player of the Week as well. And, with those performances, you mentioned the 9-game winning streak. Columbia still perfect in league play and now receiving votes in the national polls as well, as they are currently also net ranking of 44. One of 3 Ivy League teams that are really doing well, Princeton and Harvard being the other 2 in terms of the net rankings. Midway through the first, Bears looking to break that goose egg. Gia Powell goes to work, puts it up, won't go. Powell in some pain on the baseline and gone down awkwardly, and that is not something Brown fans want to see right now, as Powell has been such a bright spot at times this year as a first year, and definitely seems to be in some pain right now. So we're going to take a quick being involved in a collision on the baseline there. She was driving it in. You never like to see that at all. And certainly hope for the best for Gia Powell. But as it has been a lot of times this season for the Bears, it's been a matter of next woman up. Bella Mauricio checking in. Mauricio, the senior from Pleasanton, California. Another new member of the 1,000-point club this winter. Got her 1,000th point against Cornell. Was the 24th member before Grace Arnley became the 25th member last weekend in the game against Princeton. So Columbia feeling all the energy right now. Kitty Henderson trying to keep it in, but tosses it right to Arnley. Bears will go on the break. Olivia Young. And again, the tenacious defense from Columbia has caused the Bears a lot of problems here early on. Bears already with now 8 turnovers here in the first quarter. And this is a Brown team that's been doing a better job of taking care of the basketball. They only averaged 15 per game. And they only had 13 in the loss against Princeton. So the 8 turnovers early on just shows you how effective Columbia has been with this pressure defense. And they just continue to throw bodies at the Bears. Nelson straddling the midcourt line. Now trying to set up the Bears' half-court offense. 6 minutes gone by here in the first. Nelson trying to free up Arnley. The Bears aren't even getting clean shots, let alone tough ones. Here's Mauricio, partially altered by Page. Or excuse me, that was Raffu that time, not Page. And now to be Mia Broom. And a foul underneath the basket.
Foul number 4, Bella Mauricio.
It's going to go on Bella Mauricio. That's her first of the day.
This Columbia defense is something we haven't seen yet in the Ivy League in the first half of the Ivy League play. It is a total difference maker, and clearly the Bears haven't quite figured out the cadence yet.
Another battle for the loose ball. This time they're going to, looks like, tag Page with the foul.
The team's full turning Cecilia taking place number 1. Okay.
So Perry Page picks up the personal. That should be her second. As the Bears, again, trying to solve this basically full court all-out press by Columbia. It's made things extremely difficult. Nelson working it into Moreland. Moreland has it ripped away again. Maria Oblihosh It comes over to Broom in the corner, but too much. And sometimes you get the feeling Columbia playing maybe a little too fast on the offensive end. They have been a little bit of trouble just dialing it down. They're playing so fast defensively, swarming around, and they're trying to have that same energy offensively and just getting a little too far ahead of themselves.
Yeah, for sure. That's a tough transition when you play so active, so fast. You're flying around. You're making really active turnovers to settle yourself down because your adrenaline's just going. You're excited you made that turnover. And the other thing is, Mike, they don't look tired at all, and they've just been going hard right at Brown.
Well, it makes a big difference when you have the full week to prepare and you only have the one game in a weekend. We saw some tired players on both ends last week. As again, Columbia getting downhill in a hurry, to say the least. They are just absolutely buzzing. A 15-0 margin. As we dip under 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter, Columbia right now 7 of 12 from the field, 58%. The second best shooting team in the league percentage-wise. Yes. Do they call 3 seconds there?
Yes.
Okay.
A rare 3 seconds.
That's why I had to. I was obscured as the referee was blocked. I thought I saw the motion. And we haven't seen that call too many times. That might be the second one I've seen all season. As Aiello manages to get it to Nelson. Nelson to the corner. Arnoley trying to work a little bit closer. Flips it back out to Nelson. Skip pass. Mauricio gets a little closer. Puts it up and in. And finally the Bears get on the board. Took them more than 7.5 minutes here in the first quarter. But, you know, at the same time, it's, you want to say only, but it's only a 13-point game still. I mean, Columbia has kind of hurt themselves with some turnovers on their own as CeCe Collins fires it up from the outside. And, well, we know what she could do from the outside.
Yeah, she is just a calm, steady player, and you could see her teammates look to her to calm things down, hit a key bucket. You know, maybe Brown was getting a little bit of momentum there, and she's just like, nope, I got this.
Well, she has all kinds of range. She is the top shooter in the league right now, percentage-wise, at over 53% on the season. And again, she has taken over 65 three-pointers now. So foul on the inside. And, you know, and maybe that's an area where the Bears could have some success if they can get Columbia into a little bit of foul trouble. Now, Raffi with 2.
25, Gianna Aiello.
Page with 2. So 2 of their bigs in some trouble now underneath. And that's where the Bears would love to attack them with players like Aiello and Moreland. Again, Aiello missed significant time with a hand injury. Had injured on December 21st against New Hampshire. And just recently came back last weekend. It looked pretty smooth there on those 2 free throws. And now above 70% on the year.
And those last 2 Brown possessions are exactly what they need, where they're in control. They're making good passes, good decisions. They can keep that going and chip a little bit away at this lead. Could be in good shape.
Well, and the one thing anyone who watches basketball knows, it is a game of runs. And yes, Columbia's got off to a hot start, but that's not to mean that the Bears can't answer. However, they're going to have to find a way to slow down this Columbia offense as they continue to bombard it from three-point land. Riley Weiss that last time. Bears running the floor well. Young too strong. And then a collision underneath as knocked down was Raffu. And they'll get Aiello with the foul.
First, and the team is third for 42.
So obviously with losing Gia Powell, Bears rotation already was pretty small last weekend. They were at about a 7-player rotation for most of it. I think they went 8 briefly against Penn and settled on 7 last weekend against Princeton in the second half of that weekend doubleheader.
Yeah, and Brown's just been hit with injury after injury, and it's been a different injury each time, so there's no commonalities there. It's kind of across the board.
So another offensive foul here for Columbia. As Blau Tor picks up her first. Tor, who played well last weekend, 9 rebounds in the victory over Dartmouth. A game in which the Big Green had a 7-point lead after the first quarter, and then Columbia kind of was able to flip the switch and take control from then on. Now an offensive foul on the Bears, and oh boy, that's going to be a tough one. Second one on Aiello in about a minute span. She'll have to sit. Alyssa Moreland back in. And now that might have to alter a little bit of the strategy that the Bears are thinking of, going with their size on the inside.
Maybe that's a good strategy switch here where a few more ball handlers, a few more people that can handle the pressure up top and maybe take a little height away, but you need to mix something up if you want to change the way this game's looking.
Absolutely. So 21-4 lead for the Lions heading into the final 35 seconds of the first quarter. Collins looking to work the two-man game with Henderson. Henderson in some trouble, flings it back out. Avlihosh gets it to Tor, and foul on, I believe it's going to be Arnley. Nope, they're going to get it on Young. Well, that's Young's first. The Bears at the limit as Blau Tor at the line shooting two. 74% free throw shooter. And this was an area where Columbia has struggled. They don't struggle in many areas, but free throws is one of them. As a team, just 59% on the year. And of course, Blau Tor converts on the first. Second one a little bit short. Nelson able to come up with it. Shot clock off here for the final 20 seconds. Bears on the run with Arnley. Immediately doubled by Avlihosh and Henderson. Bears trying to find that open player. They look to Moreland. Moreland backing down Henderson off the glass. Won't go. Another rebound for the Lions. They have absolutely owned the glass. 11-2 and a last second finish on the long outlet pass to Riley Weiss. And nearly a perfect quarter there for Columbia. They lead this one 24-4. 11 points from their sharpshooter, Riley Weiss. We'll step aside for just a few moments. We'll be back with the second quarter from here in Providence. So many alumni in the house today for the alumni celebration. I know they had the alumni game, which you were a part of earlier today, Colleen. We won't ask you how many points. We'll keep that one a secret. But who is the all-time assist leader?
I have a feeling she may be in the house.
I was going to say there's a good chance they might be here, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have that answer for you later on today. Bears trying to climb back in this one. They're going to have to do it the hard way, down by 20 after the first quarter. They'll work it into the corner for Grace Arnley. Now Young on the perimeter. Nelson gets it around to Mauricio. Bears have only attempted 9 shots so far today, just 1 of 9. Arnley. And again, there's that second defender. Every time the Bears turn their back, the second defender is coming. And that has forced what is now the 11th turnover of the game for the Bears. A miss on the inside by Tor. However, Collins there for the follow-up. And the contact afterwards is going to go, I believe, against the Bears. Looks like Alyssa Moreland.
Her first.
Well, that's one on Alyssa. Another look here. Let's see the contact. Yep. Moreland boxing out, but a little too emphatically that time.
In true Alyssa Moreland fashion.
Columbia gets it in. Weiss puts it through the hoop again. 13 points already for Weiss. Again, without having to play in the shadow of Abby Shue, she has been unleashed this season and has just been tearing it up, especially as of late. I mean, she's averaging 18 points per game. Second in the league in that department. Here's Bella Mauricio trying to turn the corner on Weiss. Avoided the travel and, nowhere to go for Mauricio. Tried the scoop shot. Wasn't happening. And the Bears still with 7 on the shot clock. It'll be Arnley to get this one back in play. The long pass for Nelson. Again, they're going to have to hurry. Nelson, chased by Avlihosh, puts it up. Too long. Collins, the easy rebound. And that's been the real startling number right now, Colleen. 12-3 for the rebounds in favor of Columbia. And another foul on the Bears.
Foul number 21, Grace Sloan.
It's going to go on Arnley. That is 1 on her.
And Columbia is one of those teams that sends all 5 players to the boards, which is really unique. We're used to the traditional 3 crash the boards, 2 go back to stop the transition defense. And you'll see throughout today and throughout the season, Columbia just sends all 5 to the board, but also in a position to get back if needed.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Mo talking about, just how well they crash. When that ball goes up, everybody's tracking that ball. So that's kind of separates some of the launches. The way they're able to track that ball and figure out the physics of where it's going to go. But they are exceptional at that, and it really has showed up in their rebounding this season. #1 in rebounding margin in the league by a lot at 6.1 per game. Right now, they are +9 as a tangle underneath the hoop. No fouls, just simply last touched by Columbia. But the Bears are going to have to start finding a way to generate some good looks as they get Ima Ofunrin in. And slides the foot right in front of us, the referee right there. Ofunrin, who did not feature last weekend against Penn and Princeton, but has had some excellent games this season as a first year. Really one of those players that has stepped into some of the minutes lost by the injury to Ada Anamakwe in the preseason. And Columbia maintaining a 20-plus point lead. Weiss rises up, knocks it down. He's basically automatic from those areas. And certainly feeling in a good rhythm right now. Going back to last weekend where she had 51 points in the 2 games. Here's Nelson the other way, off the glass, too strong, and kept in. But thrown right to Young. Ofunrin, tough shot off the glass and rattles it home.
That's what Furman can do when she comes into the game, is she can really make a difference inside and really go to battle with the Columbia Lions on the rebounding side.
Yeah, she brings some good athleticism in there. Has a knack for getting to that loose ball. Well, Henderson trying to pick apart the Bears. We're going to get an offensive foul. It's going to go on Tor. It's 2 on Tor now. So Rapu back in. She does have 2 personals. I don't think Columbia too worried right now. Also Perry Page, one of their captains, with 2 fouls as well. Relentless pressure from Columbia right from the opening tip. Henderson shadowing Nelson. Now Ofunrin setting up on the far side. Still try to drive it in. Floats it up, won't go. Wasn't a bad take. Just a little bit too strong with the finish. And now Weiss floats it over for Henderson. 3 ball on the way, well off the mark. Mauricio able to tap it over to Moreland. And there's looking to get going in transition now. Nelson. And now Moreland. Moreland watched by Rafu, and now Young from the wing, short again. They're starting to generate a couple better looks, however. Maybe not falling down quite yet as the travel on Columbia. And there's one area that Meg Griffith might not be so happy with right now, and that is the turnovers. I mean, we talked about the Bears' trouble taking care of the ball today, but Columbia also now with 9 turnovers here in the first half.
Yeah, and you said it earlier, Mike. It's the speed of play that is really causing some of these unforced turnovers, and I'm certain Meg Griffith's going to have that on her agenda to talk about at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, Columbia as a team averages only 14 per game. The Bears average 15. Well, right now they're at 9 and 12 respectively, so it has been a kind of helter-skelter kind of feel to this game as well, for as well as Columbia is doing with the 29-6 lead, but it's been very disjointed and hasn't been as free-flowing as maybe we've seen sometimes this year.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think we can attribute that to the defense Columbia's brought in. They haven't backed off at all, and I don't think they will until Brown shows that they can score against it.
Yeah. Ofunrin in some trouble, and another travel violation against the Bears. And again, it's the quickness of these double teams coming. Once the Bears are kind of picking up that dribble or trying to penetrate on the inside, the space is just not there.
And there's no exact science as when they're going to come. It feels different every time when the double is sent, when the trap is. It's not something that you can scout and they do the same thing over and over.
And it's different players, too. Exactly. It's a different combination every time. Well, here's Henderson now, leaving it out for Broom. 3 ball on the way, won't go. Rafu on the inside gets hacked on the way up. And they're going to get Alyssa Moreland. So 2 on Moreland. Aiello comes back in. She has 2 fouls already. And not even midway through the second quarter here. A couple of Bears now and close to being into some severe foul trouble. As a miss there from Rafu. Again, we've talked about the free throw issues for Columbia, just 59% as a team. But they've been able to kind of counter that with how well they shoot from the field. They're the league leaders at 44%, or just behind the league leaders at 44%. So another split pair of free throws makes it a 30-6 game. Now the Bears trying to solve this pressure defense. Foonren, Young, they're going to have to hurry. They do get it across. Better movement by the Bears. Here's Mauricio from the corner. Got it! And a foul underneath. So Mauricio able to knock it down from the corner.
Foul number 5, they have Broom.
And the foul will go against Broom.
Second, number 4.
Mauricio a chance for the rare 4-point play. And Mauricio continuing to ascend up the all-time 3-point list here at Brown. 24th member of the 1,000-point club. Then spins that one out, and now we get a lane violation on Columbia, and that's something to watch out for. Oh, no, they're not. They're going to get it on the Bears?
Yeah,
a
little clarification there.
Because Columbia, they are ultra aggressive on the rebounds, especially on free throws. A lot of times it looks like they're going in early. Sometimes they do time it perfect, but that time did seem to be a little bit early inside the lane there, and Mauricio will have another crack at it. Well, that one is good. So the 4-point play for Bella Mauricio. She's got 6 to lead all Brown scorers. Lead now sits at 20 for Columbia. Another big game going on right now. Princeton and Penn. The Bears keeping an eye on that. Is Penn the closest competitor to them right now for that 4th spot? The Bears with a 2-game cushion heading into today. Here's Oblihas from the outside. Won't go. Broom battling with Mauricio. And I think they're going to get it. Now they're going to put the shot clock at 20. So last touch by Mauricio. Comes into Henderson. She's able to muscle her way out of trouble. Stacey Collins. Now Henderson again. The veteran leader in some trouble and walks with the ball. Good job by Aiello and Arnoley that time to cause some problems for Henderson.
Yeah, Brown did a really great job in collapsing when the ball got to the middle, so Henderson didn't have any options to pass out to.
Well, the Bears certainly have turned it up defensively here in the second quarter. Have only given up 6 points. It's actually 6-6 here midway through the second. However, the turnovers continuing to pile up. So we head under 5 minutes to go here in a second. Timeout on the floor. We'll step aside as well. Columbia taking care of business. We'll be back more of the Ivy League on ESPN. Lions leading this one by 20, trying to make it 12 straight wins over the Brown Bears. You got to go back to February 10th, 2018 for the last time the Bears were able to knock off Columbia. That was on the road, an 84-80 victory for Brown. But since then, Columbia, a team that has been on the rise, especially the last 3 years, as one of the top threats in the Ivy League, looking to secure a piece of its 3rd straight title. Arnoley from the wing won't go. And then the Bears with a touch foul after Rafu seemed to have it wrapped up. That's going to go against Ofunrin. And that is going to be the Bears' 4th team foul. So Columbia shooting to the rest of the way on the next foul. Henderson continuing to lead the charge here for Columbia. After a lopsided first quarter, it's been even here in the second as the Bears defense has come alive. And that was really their bread and butter last weekend in the victory over Penn, and then hanging tough with the Princeton Tigers through 3 quarters.
Yeah, over the past, really since Ivy play started, Brown's done a really great job of having that active defense. Not quite as active as Columbia as we've seen today, but they've really forced a lot of turnovers, and we haven't quite seen that yet out of them this afternoon.
Trying to make Columbia a little bit more uncomfortable, but when you have shooters that are going to do things like that, Stacey Collins again from the outside. She now is in double figures with 11.
I'm not sure Cece Collins ever feels uncomfortable when the ball's in her hands.
Just such a smooth shooter out there. And again, Columbia with so many different options as Henderson goes tumbling out of bounds. And Olivia Young, I believe, is going to get tagged with a foul as well. Wait, yep, it's going to be another foul on Young, so now she has 2.
5, Olivia Young.
Fouls piling up for the Bears. And some of the fans not so thrilled with the last call.
It's one of those where Columbia's just more aggressive to the ball. They got there first. She
came crashing in a little late. Yep. And Henderson makes them pay. Kitty Henderson just do it all. Bombs away from the outside, and Columbia up by 26. Bears are going to have to hurry, and oh boy. Yeah, over and back, Ofunrin. It was tough. Either way, another turnover. 14 now on the Bears. So Henderson's going to get a quick rest. As will. Where they put? Let's see. No, Mauricio to the bench. Well, here comes Collins. Decides to put it up again. Heat check there for Collins. Won't go. Arnoley the rebound. And I think she'll be happy to have a possession without Henderson out there to try to steal it away. Arnoley, the kick out for Young. Tried to feed it back. Quick hands, though, of Raffu, able to knock it into the Columbia bench.
Not only is Columbia double teaming and rotating really well, they're rushing through the passing lanes and making those simple passes seem really difficult for Brown.
Yeah, nothing has come easy at all. The foul there on Raffu. Now, that's going to be her third.
Foul number 0, Susie Raffu.
And the Bears will have a chance for some points at the line. They'll immediately get Raffu out, bring Page back in. And now Beth Nelson at the line. He's 71% on the season. Chance for 2 here with just over 3 minutes remaining in the second quarter. First one is good.
15, Beth Nelson.
The Bears going with Young, Arnoley, Aiello, Nelson, and Ofunrin. A miss there, but Ofunrin, the offensive board, and maybe a little bit too quick with that shot. Well, that's what Columbia makes you do, though. Makes you maybe think a little bit faster, play a little bit faster than you'd like. And a travel violation on Broom gives it right back to the Bears. So both teams in double-digit turnovers here in the first half. And Columbia exerting that pressure again. Nelson manages to get it over to Aiello. Now back for Young. Yeah, hardly any space for the Bears to work with today. Ofunrin, oh, what a nice take, and did everything but finish. Got the defender moving by her.
And she's one of those players that the more minutes she gets, the more comfortable she feels. You'll start to see her knock down those shots. So Coach LeBlanc has to be a little bit happy with some of the things she's doing in there right now.
Oh, yeah. And we saw flashes of brilliance throughout the non-conference play for Ofunrin. Trying to take the charge there. Page able to get in there and tied up. A heads-up play by Olivia Young, who's got to be a little bit careful with the 2 fouls already. And the Bears are at their best when they're able to play aggressive on the defensive end. Foul trouble hampering them a little bit. Bella Mauricio checks back in for Young. Collins this time matched up with Aiello. Leave it outside for Weiss. Wanted to pull the trigger. Instead gets to the free throw line. A rare miss there. And Ofunrin able to get to the rebound. The Bears starting to close the gap a little bit on the glass. As Arnoley step back jumper. Did not get the friendly roll that time, and coming away with it is Broom. Freshman out of Seattle. Looks inside. Oh, nice feed for Perry Page. As time continuing to tick down towards the half. 90 seconds left. Bears trailing by 27. Here's Aiello. Arnoley. Mauricio wanted it. Pulls up for the jumper. Won't go. Another rebound for Broom. Broom leaving it back for Collins. She'll drive it. Oh, another brilliant feed for Page. And that's twice. The drive down the right side and the dish for Perry Page. Bella Mauricio calling for a screen out high from Ofunrin. But Weiss able to get around it. Now Nelson gets a little closer, puts it up and in. 45 seconds left here in the first half. 40-13 Columbia, and Arnoley a little bit too aggressive, got caught behind, reached the round. And that is 2 on Arnoley. And Kitty Henderson about to check back in with Blau Tor. Looks like Henderson will come back in for Broom after she's done shooting free throws.
Columbia's had more turnovers than they typically have in the first half of a game. But their shooting percentage, Mike, what's their shooting percentage?
They are at 57% from the field, 42% from three-point land, but only around 40% at the free throw line. So Meg Griffith again, some things to be very happy about. Will help with that cold she's got. Another miss at the line. See if the Bears could take advantage with time ticking down. There is about an 8-second differential between the two clocks. So the Bears cannot hold for the final shot quite yet. Would love to get some more points on the board here. Ofunrin, the Euro step, and then just chucks it over the head of Ayala. She's tall, but she's not that tall. And that'll be another turnover on Brown with 18.5 seconds to go. So Collins will inbound for Henderson. Shot clock is off. Lions will go into their half court. Looking for some movement. Collins. On the 5 seconds now. Collins looking for Weiss. Curling around. Can she get it off? Yes, and it won't go at the buzzer. Had to work hard for that shot. In the end, it doesn't go, but it's a 41-13 lead for Columbia through 20 minutes of action here in Providence. And just a gritty team performance for the Lions.
Second half, it's really all about controlling the tempo, controlling their defensive pressure, controlling, forcing Brown into all those turnovers again. And then if you had to pick one thing that Columbia did not do in the first half, it would have been turnovers. Meg Griffith is not happy with the 11 turnovers, and I think you're going to see a team that really takes care of the ball in the second half.
Well, the one thing we do know about this Columbia team, they will not let their foot off the gas. They are going to go for the jugular early in this second half and really try to put the Bears away. Bears are going to have to withstand that charge. Probably see a fairly similar start the way that they were swarming, buzzing around the court. And if the Bears could maybe withstand that, start stringing together a couple of stops, some of those turkeys that they love to get, those 3 consecutive stops, maybe they can climb back in this one. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard real quick. Some other games at the half right now. Princeton, a 44-29 lead over Penn. That's important for Brown, as Penn, the next closest to them, fighting for that 4 spot. And Cornell, a 27-18 lead over Yale. That one also at the half. The other game that'll take place later on today, Dartmouth and Harvard battling. That one will tip off in Cambridge at 4 p.m. Of course, of note as well, a bit of a downer for the Bears. Gia Powell going down with a leg injury in the first half. She is unlikely to return. And just a sobering moment here at that point, as she was starting to heat up last weekend against Penn and Princeton, starting to find that early season form where she won a couple of Ivy League Rookie of the Week honors. And to see that is just very unfortunate for the Bears. But Coach LeBlanc, she's going to get her team fired up, ready to go, and see if they could turn the corner here in the second half against the league-leading Columbia Lions, trying to make it 10 straight wins in a row and remain perfect in Ivy League play. So it'll be Beth Nelson looking for an opening here, and already here comes the pressure from Columbia on the defensive end. Spacing was going to be important for the Bears on both ends of the floor. As Arnoley drives to the rim, doesn't get it to go, winds up with the offensive board. Flings it back out for Nelson. 3 ball on the way. Got it. That one, the net barely moved. That was so perfect from Nelson.
That's a good start for Brown. Arnold had the wherewithal to kick it out. Chin have a shot in the paint, and that's going to be something Brown's going to have to do. Is when the double team collapses, you got to kick it out and make Columbia rotate a little bit more.
Well, again, offensive rebounds. That was only the 5th one of the day for the Bears. Collins getting it around for Avlihosh. Avlihosh, little spin move in the lane off target. Arnold able to keep it alive, and Mauricio able to draw the contact from Henderson, much to her dismay. But again, the Bears getting a little bit more after it here on the glass. I'm sure that was a big focus at halftime talk.
Yeah, you can already see a little bit of a difference in the energy. And, we haven't seen Columbia's press yet. So, see if Brown made any adjustments in maybe who they're sending to the middle.
Now, Alyssa Moreland was limited in that second quarter due to some foul trouble. She's got 2, as do 3 other Bears. She is back out there now for Brown. Here's Nelson handling the point for now. Different look here out of the Bears, spreading out Arnold and Mauricio on the perimeter. Nelson seeing a lane and took the opportunity, just couldn't finish with the left hand. Avlihosh taking it coast to coast. A full sprint all the way. She was looking for a foul too, but I think she was so fast she beat everybody down there. They couldn't even see if there was a foul or not.
I think she surprised herself too when she had an open lane to the basket.
Here's Nelson, a little bit long on the 3, fighting for the rebound, and can't discount the effort ever for the Brown Bears. Doesn't matter the score or time of the game. They are out there giving it their all as Henderson lines it up for 3, won't go. Mauricio able to draw an over-the-back foul from Riley Weiss, and that was great positioning out of Bella Mauricio for that rebound.
Her second.
Yeah, and I think that's what Coach LeBlanc wanted to see from the get-go. Right now we're seeing some really good adjustments that have been made, from the rebounding to the hustle to the energy, composure. All those things have been a good start for Brown.
Well, again, those are some of the things they can control, right? The hustle, the energy, the intensity. Now, you're going to have to battle the Lions all the way through, but start controlling some of those factors. Put yourselves in a better spot. As Nelson in a little bit of trouble, gets it over to Mauricio. Mauricio puts it up for 3. Won't rattle that one in. Avlihosh the rebound. And what a find she's been for Columbia, the transfer from Ole Miss. Now we're picking up the travel there, as getting the explanation from the official. I don't think I've ever seen a player win that battle, but might as well try to talk it out.
And speaking of transfers, Mike, I think you're going to see, the transfer portal in men's and women's basketball and a lot of other sports has been wild. And I think with, some of the changes in the NCAA landscape, you're going to see transfers become more and more prevalent even within the Ivy League.
And that was going to be my next question. Do you foresee it happening more and more in the Ivy League? That's kind of been one of the rare leagues that hasn't been as affected. The only way it's kind of been the outgoings with some of the grad transfers, as you can't be a grad student playing in the Ivy League, but it will be interesting to see how it shakes up in the upcoming seasons. A miss there on the inside for Brown. Henderson bowling her way through, finds Avlihosh in the corner. Won't go, excuse me, that was Weiss. And the fight for the rebound, it's going to be a tied-up ball as Raffu and Moreland each getting their hands on it. Well, the alternating possession with the arrow staying with Columbia. And timeout on the floor, so we'll step aside as well. 43-16 Columbia. This is the Ivy League on ESPN. 7 left here in the third quarter. Reminder, our next broadcast from Brown will be the men's ice hockey game tomorrow afternoon on Super Bowl Sunday. The Bears hosting the Yale Bulldogs in another key ECAC matchup. You can find that one on NESN and, of course, right here on ESPN+. Columbia back on the attack here once again. Weiss, who had a monster first half with 15 points. Avlihosh, who's been heating up as well. Now Collins getting a touch over for Henderson. We're looking for Raffu, and they're going to get a foul on Aiello. That's a tough one for the Bears. That'll be 3 now on the 6'4 senior. As again, we talked about the fouls piling up in the first half of the Bears. They had 4 players with 2. And now Aiello becomes the first with 3. Bears will get Ima Ufunrin back into the game.
She'll take the place number 25, Gianna Aiello.
But a fresh 20 now on the shot clock for the Lions. Henderson able to float it in for Collins. Raffu went down in the battle with Ofunrin. As Collins takes it to the rim and easily lays it in, and just too easy that time for CC Collins.
You know what, Mike? She made it look easy. She really created that shot, and she's just that type of player that can make something really not easy look easy.
And Moreland going downhill quickly and has lost the handle. The pressure again coming from behind. Maria Avlihosh has been a disruptor in this second half thus far. In terms of milestone watches, keep an eye on Kitty Henderson's assists for the rest of the game. Needs 4 to tie for the all-time assists record at Columbia. There's forced a turnover. Mauricio taking it to the rack and in. Strong take. Mauricio taking it right at Henderson.
And we talked a little bit about this at the break, Mike, where if Brown can really create a 3-on-2, 2-on-1 against Columbia's pressure, Columbia might have to take it back.
And there's the defense for the Bears. They got the steal, but then threw it away. It was Weiss who came up with it. Weiss in trouble. Kicks it out for Avlihosh. Now it's Henderson. Down to 20 on the shot clock. Around it goes. Weiss for 3. Quick trigger. Won't go as Arnoley was in her face. And Raffu unable to keep it in. Couple of changes. Broom returning, as does Page for Columbia, and Olivia Young in for Alyssa Moreland.
Place number 11, Alyssa Moreland.
It'll be Beth Nelson with the inbounding duties here, with 5:56 left in the third. Points harder to come by in this quarter. Bears actually leading the frame 3-2. Fortunately for Brown, they've got a lot more ground to make up, and that'll help. A good look there from Arnoley for Ofunrin. And now Henderson and the Lions looking to counter. CC Collins from the outside. Won't go that time. Mauricio again getting in great position for the rebound. That's the second time she's been able to draw the over-the-back call.
Yeah, that's a skill. That is just knowing where the ball is, where your defender is, and putting your body position between the basket and the defender, and she's done a great job. Being undersized, all it takes is a little bit of extra heart and hustle to make those plays.
Well, she certainly has that in spades. So the Bears now trailing by 25. They've begun this quarter on a 7-4 run. Nelson looking for an opening. Arnoley for 3. High arcer. Banks it in. And I love the little shoulder shrug at the end. Why not? Banks apparently still open at 3:19 on a Saturday here in Providence. As Henderson trying to counter. Step through the lane. Collins the chance, and in and one. I'm going to say they got her on the elbow. And that's another one on Olivia Young, so that's 3 on her now. Chance for the three-point play for Collins. One of the better free throw shooters on this Columbia side, 70% on the season. It's her first trip to the line today. Columbia has a team 4 of 10, make it 5 of 11 now this afternoon. As Nelson flings it in for Mauricio. Midway through the third, there's down 25. Here's Arnoley. Yes, Nelson now moves it over for Young. 3 off the mark from the get-go, and an easy rebound for Broom. Floats it ahead, looking for Henderson. Did not have much of a chance, as much like a cornerback. Mauricio in a perfect spot to make the deflection. Takes us to another timeout on the floor. 48-23 Columbia. You're watching the Ivy League on ESPN. Class of 1990. Well, she's at 452 now. So just 4 away from tying the record for assists and 5 away from breaking. And we were just looking at some of her career stats. I mean, she's currently 7th in all-time points, 10th in all-time rebounds, has just tied Shawnee Pickney for 4th all-time in steals, 6th in field goals made, and the list goes on and on and on. Kitty Henderson set to leave as one of the best ever to play for Columbia. Riley Weiss, little spin move and finish with the left hand and put the lead back to 27. As they came out firing strong, took a 24-4 lead after the first quarter, have not looked back at all, have Columbia. A quick update on the Princeton game. They are now up 60-39 over Penn. That one about a minute and a half left in the third quarter. So back to business here. Bears have been up against it since the opening tip. Turnovers have been an issue for both teams, really. The Bears now up to 18. Columbia at 14.
And going back to the standings, Mike, I think we're seeing Princeton and Columbia really look to separate themselves. You know, Harvard's a close third within that grouping, but it's really Columbia and Princeton looking to make statement wins this weekend.
So Ima Ofunrin picks up the offensive foul. And you're right. We've kind of seen that separation in the opening weeks of league play. Obviously, everyone's halfway through their Ivy League schedule. And by the end of the weekend, I believe everyone will have played everyone at least once. As Weiss lines it up and knocks it down again from the outside. And she remembers she hadn't scored for a little bit in this quarter. Now some quick ones. Get up to 20 points again. And over and back on the Bears. Young straddling the line when she came down.
Yeah, Brown just needs to be a little bit more mindful of where they're catching that ball. This has happened twice now where you got to be clear on one side or the other.
And right in front of the official never helps either. So Columbia will try to add to their 30-point lead now. Henderson for Weiss. Oh, I thought that was going to be another assist there for Henderson. A rare miss for Weiss. Mauricio thought she was going to launch it there. Seen her hit those before. Instead looks inside for Arnley, poked away by Weiss, but last touched on the way out by Grace Arnley. And she just hasn't really been able to get going today. Just the 3 points for Arnley. Of course, there's been a lot of focus on her defensively by Columbia. Nothing is coming easy for the Bears at all.
Yeah, Arnley's established herself as a scorer in the league, and opponents know that, and they really adjust to make it difficult to get a shot off.
Collins looking to feed it outside for Broom. Then we talked about Columbia. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. Here's Broom from the outside, in and out. And Nelson able to rip it away from Page. In some trouble and flings it down the court and somehow finds Mauricio. Now Young on the outside, and great job by Columbia in getting back and preventing the Bears from getting anything off the break. Broom looking for the steal. Arnley able to keep it alive. Ofunrin for Mauricio off the glass and gets that friendly little roll. Broom the other way. Works it deep, now has Weiss on the outside. See Columbia actually gets set up in their half court here. Weiss, 3-ball, won't go. Fight for the rebound, falls to Collins. Puts it up, won't go, and Nelson able to rip it home. Nelson trying to take Page off the bounce, puts it up for 3, won't go. Another rebound for Weiss and the Lions. They are now up to plus 13 in that department. Broom trying to drive baseline, flings Arnley away, but turns it over. Again, another couple instances the last time down the floor for Columbia, just playing at hyperactive speed. Trying to match their defensive pace.
Substitutions back over the bench.
As wholesale changes for both teams. Moreland and Aiello back in for Brown. Raffu, Havli Hosh, and also Nasi Simmons, freshman out of Brockton, Massachusetts. She enters once again. Saw her a little bit in the first half. Played about 5 or 6 minutes.
Columbia's roster is a good mix of senior leadership in Kitty Henderson and some first year, second years that are coming in and making a difference as well.
Yeah, you had Cece Collins, who didn't begin her year or her career at Columbia, started at Bucknell. As the Bears turn it over again, 3-on-1 break. Henderson all the way in and one. As Mauricio is going to get called for the personal. Another chance for a 3-point play for Columbia.
Round foul number 4, Bella Mauricio.
So Henderson
Team's first. For line of Bears number 22.
able to earn that foul.
21, Grace Arnley.
Get a chance to
Harry.
create some more separation between these two teams. First look at Mackenzie Leahy as she checks in for the Bears today. Did not play last year due to injury. And now appearing in her 20th game of the season. Junior out of West Dundee, Illinois. Henderson, the Australian, drops it home. And the Bears down to 1:17 left here in the third quarter. Aiello able to wiggle out of trouble, but then turns it over as Henderson getting the job done again. Another steal. Now in fourth all by herself on the all-time leaders list at Columbia in steals. As it will stay with the Lions. So a delay of game warning has just been issued to Columbia there after not breaking the huddle quickly enough. Oh, Obley Hosh adding insult to injury.
Wow, what a heads-up play, Mike.
And another clock issue, I believe, is why they blew it dead. Now, Henderson did crash into the table on the far side. It knocked over the possession arrow, and some things got a little bit out of whack over there. Now, the clock didn't turn off, but could have caused an issue. As, oh, geez. Young got absolutely trucked by Page. The initial contact was bad enough, but you get all of Perry Page, who's listed at 5'11", certainly all of that. Kind of driving Young's head into the hardwood. Take another look here at the end of this, and ooh, right on the back of her neck. And no malice there, just unfortunate the way she was brought down. She'll check out. As checking in now will be Maddie Calhoun for the first time today. Now the 45 left in the quarter. Aiello. And there you see, again, the double teams coming from all different directions, all different players getting involved. Mauricio trying to penetrate. Floats it up, won't go. Moreland bumped off by Rafu. Well, Simmons for Avlihoff. 20 on the shot clock. We'll see if Columbia is going to run this one down as close to zero as possible. Now Henderson in one corner, Simmons in the other. Avlihoff looking inside for Rafu. Poked away a couple of times by the Bears, forced up, and that will not go. And it'll be a 58-25 lead for the Lions heading into the fourth quarter here at the Pizzatola Center. Time for us to step aside. We'll be back with more. Well, Columbia out to a 58-25 lead. All three games in action in the Ivy League right now, 20 or more point margins. As Princeton up big over Penn, 66-44 in the fourth quarter. And Cornell was up 52-32, now 52-34 over Yale. Again, Dartmouth and Harvard will tip off at the top of the hour for the fourth and final game of Ivy Women's Hoops today. Avlihoff and the Lions, no slowing down for them. Of course, some of the ways the net rankings come into play, sometimes it's that margin of victory and how much you're able to outscore your opponent, and especially in league play as well. So don't expect Columbia to empty the bench anytime soon, even with the big lead here in the fourth quarter. Especially only one game this weekend. Plenty of time to prepare for next week's games. As the travel on Aiello turns into the Bears' 25th turnover of the game. And even on a good shooting day, that's tough to overcome that many turnovers. And all the credit has to go to Columbia. So now they do make a change. So Collins will head out for now. We'll see if she returns. And maybe Coach Griffith is going to go a little bit deeper on the bench earlier.
Yeah, but going back to the net rankings, Columbia got to the NCAA tournament last season, not winning the Ivy League tournament, and they're putting themselves in a position. We have to assume they're going to make the Ivy League tournament. in the event that they don't win it, they want to be in a position to get an automatic bid to the NCAA.
Right, and that is why, and maybe it's a flaw in the net rankings that counts so much or whatever, but either way, Columbia definitely in the conversation for an at-large bid already. A lot of folks feeling already that 2 Ivy League teams will make it. Could be tricky for a third, but we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. Another miss for the Bears. Here comes Page and the Lions. Henderson still sitting on 5 assists and needs 4 more to tie the all-time record at Columbia. Here's Simmons from the outside, too long. Calhoun able to track it down. And here come the Bears. Leahy for Mauricio. 3 ball, won't go. Page another rebound. See, 36 rebound of the day for Columbia as they are plus 17. And just too quick. Maria Avliash for 12 points now on the afternoon.
And she's really taken advantage of some of the breakdowns in communication on the Bears' transition defense. She just takes it right to the basket and finishes very smoothly.
Yeah, she has run the floor very well today, and I think they're going to get a yellow for an offensive foul. A little hook to create some space. That'll be her 4th personal. So Broom back in. Henderson out. So with 8 minutes left, both Henderson and Collins now out of the game. Perhaps their day is done. I mean, you get to the point with the margin. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's 30 or 40 points in the end. I don't know how much that plays into the net rankings, but. And the other thing you got to remember, they have to play each other again. And players don't forget sometimes. If you get run out of your own gym like this. Not that Columbia is an easy place to play at by any means, but I would definitely expect a much closer game in the second meeting.
Yeah, and Columbia has to be really happy with the way they've played today. Also knowing that Ivy Madness is being hosted by Brown in Providence, where they're going to come in, again, assuming that they do make the Ivy Madness. They haven't quite clinched yet, but they're going to feel good about coming back to Providence for Ivy Madness.
Well, and it's something that Coach Griffith talked to us about this week, said that they really wanted to take in the atmosphere, get used to playing here, have a good performance. And, their whole thing was keeping their focus on themselves, knowing that they practice so hard, they stay focused all week. But that being here at Brown, the site of this year's Ivy Madness, that they really wanted to make sure that they felt comfortable playing here. And boy, they've looked pretty comfortable today.
I think they achieved their objectives of the weekend.
Here's Broom from the outside, nothing but net. And the lead up to 40 points now. Broom with 4 points on the day. As Leahy works it around. Aiello. With Calhoun trying to cut, flips it back out to Aiello. Moreland for Mauricio for 3. Too strong. Aiello able to grab a hold of it and draw some contact. I believe they're going to get Page, but we'll see to make sure. And it will indeed be Page. That is her 3rd.
Page for 4.
Check that. That's her 4th.
Steely Collins.
So there's a fresh 20 seconds now with 6:25 left in the 4th quarter. And it does not get any easier for Brown. This is one of their toughest stretches of the entire season, as next weekend they will be on the road at Princeton, at Penn, and then hosting Harvard on the 22nd before going to Columbia on the 28th. So basically playing the top of the league and Penn in the next couple of games. Moreland's pass deflects to Leahy. The catch and shoot won't go. And Moreland nearly took CeCe Collins' head off, but a swing and a miss. It comes over for Raffu. Oh boy, right past everybody. What a take there by Susie Raffu.
And Columbia's playing really confident right now. They've been playing confident from the tip, but you can still see it. They're comfortable playing with each other. They're confident in their abilities.
And the rainmaker from Calhoun on the outside. She drops the 3 ball home. Weiss trying to counter, won't go. Henderson the rebound. Tried to feed it inside and lost the handle. Now the Bears trying to push it the other way. Aiello puts on the brakes. Now Mauricio driving. Euro stepping in. Bella Mauricio somehow threw 3 Lions on the inside. Able to get the job done. Forces a timeout as well. Mauricio with 12. The Bears, though, down big. We'll be back with more for Providence. This is the Ivy League distinction. But if anything, that also just goes to tell you what a job Columbia has done on the defensive end. And they have held the Bears to 12 of 45 shooting so far. And have only put the Bears at the line 5 times. Now, the Bears have hit 4 of those 5 free throws, but we know the Bears love to try and tack the rim and work it inside the players like Moreland. Some early foul trouble caused, I think, some rotation changes. Then you lose Gia Powell in the second quarter as well to injury. And there's a couple too many things for the Bears to overcome here today.
Yeah, Columbia's played a really clean defensive game. Like you said, not a lot of fouls, not a lot of messy play. It's really been solid defense.
As O'Funran gets the better of Emily Montes. Montes, her first appearance of the day, 9th of the season. Did not play last year due to injury. Another player fighting to get back into that total game shape after missing a year. Trying to leave it outside for Simmons. Simmons gets in close, runs over O'Funran. And an offensive foul. The officials, good job of communicating there. So Simmons picks up the personal on the charge.
Simmons.
Take another look here. Again, always such a hard call to make. We'll see Klein into the game for the Bears. Just her 9th appearance of the season. Early in the season, Coach LeBlanc saying, you know, she could be a spark player too. She can make things happen on the floor. Has got good speed. Can run the floor well.
Number 30, Emily Montes. Her first.
As Montes picks up another personal. 4:11 remains here in the fourth quarter. Again, it's been a day of blowouts in league play so far. Harvard will try to keep that trend going against Dartmouth later on today. Oh, bullet pass on the inside. O'Funran left it short. And that'll be one she wishes she had back. Montes gets down deep, kicks it out for Broom. Tor wants it on the outside, and now we'll give it back. Broom trying to shake off Mauricio. Under 10 on the shot clock for Montes. Broom looking for an opening. Pulls it back, puts it up, and rattles it in.
And we saw this a lot against Princeton, where Brown would play really good defense for 27, 28 seconds, and Princeton was able to capitalize on that last 2 seconds, and Columbia's done a little bit of that today too.
And those are the most demoralizing kind of shots to go in. You play so good, so hard for that, almost the entire shot clock, and then to have them hit the shot anyway at the end. Now, 3 minutes to go. Mauricio fires it up, but it's an offensive foul before the shot. One official was going to count it. The other one was going to wave it off. And they're going to have a mini conference there in front of the Brown bench. And we'll see what they decide here. So now they are going to say that the basket counts for Mauricio. And I think they're going to get a foul on O'Funran. Take another look at O'Funran atop there. Ooh, that was... might have occurred a split second before the shot, and that was the initial call from the official. It's going to be O'Funran's 4th personal. As the referees, I think, are going to come over and take a look at it. So this is exactly what they're going to look at here again. Was the illegal contact on the screen? I have a feeling this one's going to get wiped off the board for the Bears, as it seemed pretty obvious there. I think give credit to the official on the far side to begin with. She had it right.
Yeah. And we've seen the illegal screen up at the top of the key called quite a bit, not just today, but throughout the season. I think, I don't know if the fundamentals of screens aren't taught as much anymore, or that pick and roll and the roll a little bit too early, but it's been a common theme that we've seen on all teams, you know?
So here's again, there's the count. Watch that arm come up, and now I wonder if they're going to look at it for anything more than just a common foul. Sometimes you see that arm swinging up like that. Didn't appear to be, but they are calling the third official over to take a look at it as well. So again, it was initially called a 3 for Mauricio and a foul on Ofunrin. There's no doubt there was a foul on Ofunrin, whether or not the foul was before the shot, which from that look certainly looks to be the case.
It does.
So, yep. So they get it right again, do the officials. Shot will be wiped out for Mauricio as the contact on the illegal screen happened first. They'll take the points off the board, and the Bears still some work to do if they want to get to at least 38 points. They don't want to be on that Columbia record book for the lowest amount of points in a Division I game. And Mauricio also loses another three-pointer. She's been climbing up the rankings all time. I know a list that you are on. Also, she's climbing up the all-time points list as well. Another list that you're on. Currently 17. Still does 1080. They're holding you in that 17 spot, but both Mauricio and Grace Arnoley chasing you and the others on that all-time scoring list here at Brown.
It's been really fun to see the current student athletes score, get their 1,000th point, break some records, and really make a name for themselves in the Brown record book. It's been fun to be a witness to that.
Absolutely. So here comes Columbia. Maria Aribola, first time we've seen her. Simmons from the outside won't go. Mauricio swiped at it and flung it out of play. And the shot clock once again at 20 seconds for Columbia. Broom able to flip it in for Aribola. Simmons again trying to set up shop on the outside. Has Tor. Wants to get it back to Simmons instead. Goes for the mid-range jumper. Won't go. Ofunrin comes up with it. Bella Mauricio working against Simmons. To the outside it goes. Klein from the outside, unconscious. Well, the Bears get to 37. That ties Dartmouth for that ignominious record. We'll just need one more point to avoid going into Kyle Matrician's notes for next game. Here we go, Columbia. Aribola down the lane. Oh, smooth take there from Maria Aribola, the Spaniard. In just her 19th game of the season. I haven't seen her at all today until the last couple of moments. Now the Bears facing that pressure defense out of Columbia again. Leahy with under 2 minutes to go. Leahy. Oh, has it ripped away by Tor. Tor playing some of her best ball as of late. Led the Lions in rebounds in their last outing against Dartmouth on the road. Here's Broom from the outside. Nothing but net. Leahy able to get into Mauricio. Will have to get around Montes. Gets it outside. Calhoun for three. Won't go. And it's Tor once again with another rebound. Check that. That was Aribola. And Broom just laying the shoulder into Calhoun. Draws the block.
I call number 14, Maddie Calhoun. Her first.
And that'll put Broom at the line shooting two.
And Broom's been a player that has really capitalized on her minutes today.
Yeah, Broom now at 10 points after that made free throw. Has hit a couple of threes. 3 of 6 from the field. 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal in just 20 minutes of action Second one is a miss. And Leahy the rebound. And that'll be a foul on Broom. It's 3 on Broom today. The 4th team foul.
And Columbia still has not taken the press off. 1 minute left in the game, and they continue to full court press and work on their defense.
Yeah, I mean, they've pulled their starters basically, but they have continued to execute their game plan all the way through. Mauricio lost the handle on the way in, but stepping out of bounds was Broom. The Bears will keep possession. 41 seconds to go. Leahy looking for a target, finally finds Mauricio. Mauricio from the outside gets it to go. That's a makeup for the one she made earlier that did not count. And the Bears get to 40 points. Now Columbia can basically hold this for the rest of the game. About a second or so difference between the two clocks here to close out this 4th quarter. Broom watched by Klein. Broom going to work. 3 on the shot clock. Aribola from the outside won't go toward the putback, and that'll do it for this one. Columbia rolls to a 78-40 victory here at the Pizzatola Center. They improve to 17-4 overall in the season. It is their 10th straight win. They're perfect 8-0 in Ivy League play. The Bears at 10-11 now, 4-4 in league.